Hello creatives. Today we are going to be talking about some of my all-time favorite books and some of the books that I've been reading recently. We moved to the UK 6 months ago with no books. That's not true. I bought my own books and I bought maybe like 1 or 2 special ones, but we have filled the bookshelves since we've gotten here like we've never had before. We have gone to the bookshop in Oxford, Blackwell's, and we've fallen in love, and we are basically part owners now. How much money we've spent in there is it is good, but it is also irresponsible. I'm sure you understand. So I've gone through the bookshelves and I've kind of picked up some of my favorites that I've read this year, and also some of my favorites that a lot of you will have already heard me talk about a lot because I love them. So where should we begin? Let's start with the staples. The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. This book was the beginning of all my creative transformation, all of my personal human Amy transformation, mostly because of her morning pages and her direction to journaling. This book is a must read for creatives. I don't really care where you're at right now, if you're in a good place, if you're in a bad place, if you're very experienced, if you're not. This is a book that we all need to read and we all need to come home to. There is something about this woman. She is the creative mama, and I was lucky enough to see her this year speak, and she just has something ethereal, something magic, and it's incredibly important. This book stopped me, or gave me permission to begin the process of stopping hating myself for wanting to be an artist, because for so long I felt so much guilt for wanting to create, especially wanting to create full time. And Julia said, hey girl, this is what you're made for. And to have someone like Julia tell me that it was okay to have these creative desires and these huge creative dreams, she gave me permission in a way I haven't felt before, and I was so grateful. So yes, I often find that people find the Artist's Way overwhelming because it is a 12-week program. I've never done a 12-week program. This isn't a compulsory course. Like, take what you want from it, do what you will. She's not something you have to follow like rule by rule. Use this however you want to use it. Again, I've never completed the 12 weeks. I don't do artist dates, and I don't even do the 3 pages of morning pages. I do 1 page. Like, break the rules, but find the wisdom that you need in here. So important. Daddy Seth Godin, it's mummy and daddy time. This is marketing. So the other really big life-changing book for me, for Seth, is The Icarus Deception. That's probably my number 1. Again, The Icarus Deception gave me permission to fly close to the sun, to have big dreams, to desire to make change, and to know that it's not foolish to want to make big, profound change with your art. So that's incredible. Again, I've had the privilege of speaking with him this year. What a year, mummy and daddy, incredible. This is Marketing is really an important book for creatives who want their art to be out there. Too many creatives say that they are not marketers, say that they're terrible at selling their work. This is what you need. We need to understand that marketing is storytelling, and no one explains that better than Seth Godin. Marketing is knowing people, and it's an art in itself, and artists are incredible marketers. You just don't want to sell your work, which is totally understandable, but let Seth help you through that. Truly, like, I just dip back in all the time. I've read this multiple times. It gives me ideas. It helps me ideate. I'm so grateful for this book. These are a lot of James's ones at the moment. This was just in my pile. It's not an all-time favorite, but it is a really interesting and good book to look at. I'm obsessed with deep focus and deep flow at the moment, something that I really want to bring into my life. And Cal Newport, it really explores this idea of what we need to be focused. I disagree with him a lot. I disagree with him on his stances around social media. I think sometimes he is very of his generation, but I also think that there is so much in here for creatives, again, to look at how we want to deepen our practice. And so this is one I've read this year. I found it really interesting and really helpful. What are these doing in here? That's crazy. These books are so good. These are my 2 books. Regrettably, I'm about to cause trouble. The rules upheld by no one. Hopefully a little new baby coming at the beginning of next year. These are both historical fiction, slightly raunchy, fun, very voicey, enjoyable. This one's particularly good for like the Christmas time kind of vibes. You know, it's cozy. We spend Christmas Yuletide in the Tudor court. It's crazy how these ended up in this book pile, but maybe you should buy them and read them. Atomic Habits. So this is probably actually one of my all-time favorite books. I think that James Clear just gets to the point and is so practical about how it is we can show up for ourselves in our own name, doing what we want to do. Artists are often and constantly, including me, in a pattern of betrayal, of self-betrayal, of procrastination, of not showing for ourselves and not taking our art seriously. And Atomic Habits just breaks it down in a way that I've never seen broken down in a way. There's a reason why this book is so fucking successful. And I'm excited one day to have a conversation with him about this, specifically as it attains to art. You won't need everything in this book, but you'll definitely take something and you'll be able to integrate it into your creative practice in a way that will feel very you, very on purpose, very intentional. And like, I recommend this. Just listen to it. It's a really good audiobook as well. We're back on fiction. Richard Osman, this is the 4th book in his series of the Thursday Murder Club. This is one of the most fun books I've read in years. This is the 4th book. It came out this year. I had so much fun. This man writes humanity in a way I've never seen before. I'm so grateful for Richard Osman for writing these stories that have moved me to tears multiple times. I read this book when I was on my trip to America this year, and I was sitting in JFK bawling my fucking eyes out because he sees people in the most beautiful and profound ways, and I am just so grateful for him. He inspires me as a fiction author. I want to depict people in this beautiful, pure light. Also, it's crime, it's fun. It's crime in a way I've never really read it before. Like, it's just so easy, you just pull through. The characters are just so enchanting that you hardly realize that murders are happening, but they are. So this is the 4th book. The first one, The Thursday Murder Club. Get into it if you're not already into it. Another book I've read this year, The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. How could I not read this? Absolutely stunning cover. They've really invested in this. It's like, I don't even know what material this is. Rick Rubin's soul is squishable, and I'm so grateful for him sharing his wisdom after such a prolific career in the arts. Again, this is something that I feel like you can just open up and find magic within it. Like, there's just like little moments that you can just like, you know, there's a huge contents page at the beginning, and wherever you're in your creative journey, like, everyone is a creator, the point of reference, non-competition, play, the art of habit, letting it be. You can just like find what you need and dive in. I listened to it. I wish I read it, and in fact I have been going back and having a deeper dive and just reading it in the text form. So many points of wisdom here, and I'm really grateful for his insights into what it is like to lead a creative life. Oh, it's over here. Young Pueblo's new book, The Way Forward. Diego is an incredible champion of the arts, and whilst this book is not specifically about creativity, again, it's kind of like you just dip in and out, take what you need. I drew a nude in one. I defile books, like I defile them. You can just dip in, dip out. He is just like so full of wisdom. Your ego wants other people to think and act just like you. Like, they're almost like journaling prompts. In fact, I have them right by my journal to like dip in and dip out of, to inspire thought. Like, even just that, bring it to the journal, let him trigger something within you and let yourself unfold. So Diego, the Young Pueblo's book is incredible, super important. One moment. Martha Beck, The Way of Integrity. This book is the book that stopped me from lying. I must say that it's not been an intentional practice of mine this year, but at the end of last year I read this and I chose to do for 6 months no lying, and it is something that Martha recommends, and this whole book is about integrity and sitting with yourself, and it's just incredibly important. Like, anyway, I'll get into it in a second. I want to tell you about the lying. Not lying, like not white lying. I'm not a big liar, but like when I really paid attention, the ways I would bend the truth, manipulate truth, and sometimes downright lie was so shocking and eye-opening to me, particularly in like intense social situations. The way I would try and weasel out of stuff or just make conversations easier by lying. It was really eye-opening and something I definitely encourage you to do. But this book, The Way of Integrity, brought me home to myself. Creatives need to be looking at our integrity, who it is we are, how it is we want to be showing up. Are we sabotaging or sacrificing our vision in any way in the name of other people, and in the name of people pleasing, in the name of keeping the peace? This book brings us home to like how we're showing up in that way. Creatives need integrity, otherwise we're going to be pulled far from the path, and even if we become the most successful artists in the world, we are going to struggle because we won't be living our truth, we won't be living in integrity. So this book I read at the end of last year was a real game changer. I really loved the book, but I actually don't think I have the physical copy. Bittersweet by Susan Cain. So Susan Cain wrote the really famous book Quiet about introversion, and now that really, really good book. But Bittersweet had me on my knees. Like I felt so seen. And it is about the beauty and the melancholy, the beauty in the music that makes you weep, the beauty in sadness, in grief, and just this complex human emotion of the bittersweet, the beautiful but painful. And it helped me as a fiction author because I think this is an emotion that isn't really like, we don't dive into it that much, but it is an emotion I dive into every day. I'm one of those people people, I have a crying playlist. James thinks this is really funny, but like I have a Spotify playlist that's just crying for when I just need to like sit in those bittersweet feelings. So I do that and I love it, and bittersweet really spoke to me and that kind of part of myself. So Susan Cain, both Quiet and Bittersweet are incredible books. I'm like going at pace today. I've got so many books I want to share with you. I am reading The Lord of the Rings. Like I have a freaking like, that's a half a Hobbit door that you can see right there. The movies did something to me. It was a complete game-changing moment for me. I was undone by Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, but I never read the book thinking that it's gonna be too dense or it just wasn't gonna be anything like the movie. And like I fell in love with Lord of the Rings at 11 years old and I'm 31, so it's been 20 years and I've just read it and it was so fucking good. The only thing that's I think hard, just translation wise, in terms of like how old the book is the songs. I don't partake in songs in books, so I listen to the whole thing and I just skip them. It is read by Andy Serkis, the actor who played Sméagol and Gollum. He's a fucking incredible voice actor. He really mimics the accents of everyone in the movie, which I love. So it was like listening to the movie in your head, but you got all these extra bits and it was just beautiful language. And you know, as a movie nerd, like getting to see how it was translated was just so satisfying. The thing that stood out to me the most in the book that didn't stand out to me as much in the films was the male camaraderie. Oh, the love between the men. And like that's a trope I just love in books, like male kinship. Aragorn, what a fucking beautiful man. And it made me think a lot of like Tolkien's experience in World War II, and it was just a beautiful thing to read. And I'm so glad that I was brave enough when I did it. And honestly, it was just really easy to listen to, really easy to consume. And I'm so grateful that I did. This book's all around me. Another big book that I read this year. James is texting me. I'm gonna pause this and come back because I'm worried he's locked out the house. He wasn't. Okay, so I think we'll end on this because I have therapy in a minute. Outlive by Dr. Peter Attia. So this is non-fiction and it's about, what does he call it? The science and art of longevity. I want to be making art for as long as fucking possible. I want to be moving my body and feel good in my body for as long as fucking possible. And so I was interested in this extremely scientific, very dense book about how we support our bodies and minds to live long, luxurious, stimulated and delightful lives. It was huge. It took me like 4 months. I really tried to like sit in it and learn. It was challenging, but like I took, you know, some beautiful things from it. Like with a lot of these nonfiction books, you know, you take what you need. I was very interested in this book, particularly fascinated by the impacts of exercise. Like there's a lot of research that's still to be done around a lot of this stuff around Alzheimer's and cancer, etc. But exercise is just something that comes up again and again. Like what a miracle cure, essentially, and the way that it keeps us so physically and mentally able. That was probably the biggest thing I took from this, even though sometimes I feel like it's not that great news and it's hard, especially in the winter, to get out and move your body. This book really inspired me, and when I move my body now, I'm doing it in service to like 85-year-old Amy, who I want to be mentally so fit and still moving, still, you know, ideally still running. And this idea is that we'll be centenarian decathlon. He wants us to be 100 and doing like decathlons, which I think is a very big and bold and very exciting goal. So a very big one, as you can see, but very, very well written and pretty approachable for the layman, even if some of it is a bit dense. Whew, I just went for it. Obviously I have so many more books that I want to share with you, but I thought I'd just give you a little taster as to what I'm reading now, what obviously my big favorites are. We might have this kind of be more of like a monthly thing where I let you know about what I've been reading in the last month, and I might even include James to come in. He's a prolific reader as well. We are reading together and we read out loud to each other Legends and Lattes, which is this incredible fantasy novel about an orc who retires from battle and being a warrior to start a coffee shop, and it is just fucking delightful. A real easy read before bed. We read it to each other before bed, which is a practice we really like to have. Woo! All right, so I hope that's given you a little taster. I hope you have felt inspired to go invest and support an author and go indulge in their words. I'm grateful to be back on YouTube. I've had probably some of the biggest few months of my life, and I'm glad to be back, and I'm just grateful to be with you. Thank you for supporting this channel as I try and grow this. Like your comments, your likes, your shares mean more than ever. And yeah, go create, bask in your own art.